One love, one heart. Can we get together so we can be all right? You know, what's going on is that you don't see the enemy. So you can't catch the enemy in their tracks. The enemy can see you though. So they can catch you in your track. Now, why is it that you can't see the enemy? It's because you don't know that there really is one. You haven't begun to accept that the enemy is you. That's why you can't stop the enemy. Because it's so many things that you cannot stop yourself from doing. So how can you stop the enemy? You can't even see the enemy. When you look in the mirror, you don't see the enemy. Then you go outside and you don't see the enemy. Because why is that? Because the enemy is hiding. The enemy doesn't want to be seen. But the enemy can see you. Why can the enemy see you, but you can't see the enemy? Why is it that the enemy can do things to you, but you can't do things to the enemy? Now, those are some good questions to ask. Ask them. Just for a moment. Ask that question. Why you can't do anything about this enemy, this supposed enemy, the one that's doing all of this to the world, that's saying that, we have a serious thing going on where people need to get, what they need to get, the experiment. Now, I want you to think about this. You remember hearing in history about the other plagues, the bubonic plague or whatever they call it, right? I know in my schooling times, we heard about it and how much people were sick and this and died and da-da-da. Well, that's history. What do you think that your great-grands and your great-great-grands will hear about with this that is going on now? They're going to hear the same thing that we heard about the plague, and how much people died and how bad it was. But now you're living the same plague, just with a different name. You see, it's the same game, just the name has changed. That's what they do. They're the enemy, of course, and they know how to play you because they played your parents and your grandparents too. And now you come and be born and you hear about his story too. But now I just want to remind you, because I was there through it all. I'm an old soul. And I want you to be up on this game here, because it's the same game. And now it's lame. And only those who have plenty fame get to play and get rich. And get rich quick. Because of the simple fact of how much people believe the game, want to play, and are getting sick. But they're not sick and tired of playing the game yet, of course. Because they can't find the enemy, and that's the whole game. Find the enemy now. Find the enemy. Because this, what is going on, is the same sickness as that other plague. And it was also man-made. and they're playing by a certain playbook. It's called the Bible. It's a code of how they play to control. Just like when you're playing football and you go and you get in a huddle and you have this playbook and it's all numbered which play you're going to play. So then you play that play and then the other team doesn't score. And then you play that same playback because they don't know how to play, and then you can score some more. So that's what the Bible is. It's a playbook. And it's numbers and it's coded too. So now, even in that Bible, those same ones who are here now, they have that play and they can play it again on you. Because you weren't in that game and there was no one left to give you the right book, so that you would have the chance to gain some wisdom once you opened it and took a look. Now, I'm just a reminder to let you know that this right here, what's going on, it's the finale. And soon the grand finale, and it's going to be a big show. Because that's written also in their book of codes and plays. But now you do know something. So you can actually play back. Because there are no rules to the game. Because you make them up as you go. You make them up as you grow aware. And you look them right into the eyes and then you give them that hard stare. Like, I see you now. Oh, you're the enemy in me. The love that I don't put out into the world that no one can see. You see, there was a saying that's in that playbook, and my mother taught it to me. She said, kill them with kindness, darling. They hate that. And most people say, no, I'm not going to ever do that. I'm going to pick up a gun, I'm going to pick up a knife, and I'm going to cause a bunch of confusion, and I'm going to create some strife. But then that makes you sick because that's not your true nature. Your true nature is love. So then they win again because now that you have to come up with all this evil thoughts to get them back. You're spinning things, and you're going off track. Because now you're distracted by what they've done. And you haven't looked inside. So, of course, we haven't won. Because each one must teach one and hold the next one's hand so that we can take a stand and know that we all win when we defend our heart. And we do that by speaking spoken words, playing good sound and vibrations, and drawing beautiful art. Because when you look into the mirror, into the eyes of your soul, you see that same one who was here when those other games was being played, and now you've just grown old. Take a look into your eyes and see how ancient you truly are. You're a star. And you're here starring in your roles and in your place. And now you forget because they taught you that you're here on earth. But in reality, you're in inner and outer space. And that space is all mind. It's your mind. And you are supposed to control that. Not that enemy that you let in. Because you have skin. And your pores are open just like doors. So it's easy for them to get in. Not until you decide that you're going to get thick-skinned and you're going to get tough. Because it's you who have to talk to yourself and give yourself tough love. And I know sometimes it gets to be rough. But do it anyway, because there's a baby inside of you that needs to be trained. And then from all the junk food and all of the school lessons that were not good, you should refrain. And then from the sex that is overbearing and way too much, you should all do those things not as much. It's time that you learn how to abstain and get back in nature and play in the rain. You are children and you've lost your innocence. And so now you're just as guilty as the enemy that is inside of you, who you can't see, who you're fighting and worshipping, and who is preying on you and you are praying too. I hope that this video you can find some clues to find your way out of the box before you go in the box or the bag. Because how you give birth to things is by your gift of gab. You see, your gift of gab is just like what I've always said. The world is backwards. So gab backwards is bag. If you want to hold the bag or grab the bag, you first have to have your gift of gab. And that's how you straighten things out. Because you give birth to this reality actually. And it's factually coming right out of your mouth. One love, one heart. Can we get together so we can be all right?